Fish may appear to be humble and harmless creatures, but they can actually be far more dangerous than you might imagine. Some species are even deadly. Here are the 20 most dangerous fish in the world that have the potential to kill you. Number 20. Tigerfish. When a fish has tiger in the name, you just know it's going to be vicious, and the tigerfish really is. This fish is native to Africa and is the name of several species within the genus Hydrocinus. The two major species of African tigerfish are the Goliath tigerfish, which can weigh up to 110 pounds, and the regular tigerfish, which grows up to about 33 pounds. Most tigerfish species aren't actually dangerous to humans, but the Goliath tigerfish is. This one is known to attack swimmers in the Congo River and is the only African freshwater fish known to do that. According to locals who live near the river where these fish hang out, an evil spirit called Mbundu enters the fish and makes them attack people. There's no evidence of people dying from these attacks, but there's no denying that they can cause a great deal of damage. Many fishermen have lost fingers, and plenty of small children have been attacked while minding their own business swimming in the water. Number 19. Stingrays. The much-loved Steve Irwin learned firsthand how dangerous stingrays could be. They don't actively seek to kill us, but they can be incredibly dangerous. Stingrays are flat fish with long, whip-like tails that have sharp, jagged stingers. These barbs are their only weapon, and they use them to inject poison into whoever happens to step on them or cause them harm in any way. The poison can be so dangerous that it can permanently damage the part of the body affected, and there have been at least 17 recorded deaths in history. Stingrays don't actively attack people, though. Most experts describe them as docile and solitary, preferring to be left alone. The most common way people are attacked is when they accidentally step on a stingray, since some species like to burrow under sand close to shorelines. Even though deaths are rare, they do happen for a number of reasons. As we all know, the crocodile hunter Steve Irwin died while filming Ocean's Deadliest. He had encountered an 8-foot-wide stingray on Bat Reef in Queensland, and they believed it would be safe to get footage because stingrays typically swim away from humans. Except in this situation, it didn't. Instead, the stingray whipped its tail up in Steve's direction, and the barb punctured his heart. They were able to get him back to the boat, but he died before the medics could help him. Number 18. Marbled cone snail. Come on, snails are not dangerous, that's ludicrous. Sure, your average garden snail isn't going to hunt you down and kill you, but a marbled cone snail in the ocean just might. These gastropod mollusks are often called cigarette snails because if you're stung by one, you only have enough time to smoke a cigarette before you die. Their venom is so potent that just one drop could kill over 20 people. Upon being stung, you can experience extreme pain, numbness, tingling, and swelling, followed by speech, vision, and hearing problems. Marbled cone snails might be tiny at just 6 inches long, but they are by no means harmless. At least 30 human deaths have been attributed to them, and most are due to respiratory muscle paralysis, eventually leading to death. Researchers are yet to find an antivenom. Making the situation even more concerning is knowing how easy it is to be stung. They're very good at hiding, so you might not even see one before you accidentally step on it and get stung. If you get stung and don't seek help to manage the symptoms, death can follow in 1 to 5 hours. That's a long cigarette. Number 17. Stonefish. Fish don't have to be giant and scary to be dangerous. They could be small, hard to see, and very unremarkable. That's what the stonefish is. Even though it only weighs up to 5 pounds, reaches lengths of just 15.7 inches, and doesn't look dangerous at all, it is the most venomous fish in the world. Stonefish, which live in coastal regions of the Indo-Pacific Oceans, have venomous sacs on their spines that can do a great deal of damage, even if you never intended to hurt them first. They might not realize it, but they're pretty much impossible to spot on rocky seafloors because they just look like rocks themselves. But if unsuspecting people were to step on them, they're in for a world of hurt. The venom is a mix of proteins that can cause incredible pain, necrosis, swelling, heart failure, and even death if left untreated. If you're stung, you need to seek immediate medical care to receive antivenom. Otherwise, there's a chance you'll die. Fortunately, very few people have actually died from the sting of a stonefish, but it pays to avoid being stung at all costs. Alongside the apparent risk of death, someone who has been stung said it feels like having every knuckle, wrist, elbow, and shoulder hit with a sledgehammer for an hour. Number 16. Red lionfish. Red lionfish are venomous coral reef fish from the Indo-Pacific region. However, they are now an invasive species in the Caribbean Sea and on the east coast of the United States. These fish are red or maroon with white stripes and grow up to 18.5 inches long. Their colors are pretty much the first warning sign about this fish's deadliness, but they also drive their point home with their horrendous-looking spines. These spines protrude from their bodies to deter predators and are also venomous. Fortunately for fish and humans, these spines are purely for defense, as in, they won't go out of their way to find something and attack it using those spines. But that doesn't make them any less painful. If they feel threatened, they're not afraid to use them and will face their attacker upside down to provide the best stabbing position. The sting of a red lionfish isn't typically fatal, but you won't be volunteering to be stung. Once stung, you can feel extreme pain and might even come down with a headache while vomiting and experiencing breathing difficulties. It's not exactly a comfortable experience. Some people are more sensitive to their venom than others, so immediate medical treatment is recommended. Now it's time for today's topic. Fish may seem like humble, innocent creatures, but they can actually be far deadlier than you might think. Some are even lethal. These are the 20 most dangerous fish in the world that can kill you. A chilling story has emerged from the Pacific Ocean, where a diver reportedly encountered a massive sea creature that defies explanation. The diver, an experienced professional, was exploring a deep trench when he came face to face with something that should not exist in our oceans. The encounter left him so shaken that he had to be hospitalized for severe shock and exhaustion. According to the diver's account, the creature was unlike anything he had ever seen. It had massive, writhing appendages and an otherworldly appearance that made it impossible to identify. After days of recovery, the diver worked with 3D artists to recreate the creature based on his description. The resulting image has sparked widespread debate, with some suggesting it could be a colossal squid or a giant octopus, while others believe it might be an entirely unknown species. The incident has reignited fears about the mysteries lurking in the ocean's depths. While skeptics argue the diver may have misinterpreted what he saw, the sheer terror in his account has left many wondering what truly lies beneath the waves. This encounter serves as a haunting reminder of the dangerous and unknown creatures that may still roam the uncharted waters of our planet. Number 15. Giant devil catfish. Just know this fish will be horrendous with a name like giant devil catfish. It's also known as gunch or Bagarius ureli, and it's a catfish species from South Asian rivers. Many locals in India, Nepal, and surrounding areas call it the killer catfish because of its colossal size and aggression. It can measure over 6.6 feet long, weigh up to 200 pounds, and has a huge mouth filled with many rows of sharp teeth. This is what the deadliest fish in the world can do with all those attributes: kill people. We don't know much about their behaviors in the wild, but we do know that they were at the center of many alleged attacks between 1998 and 2007. Fatal attacks on humans occurred in villages on the banks of River Kali, which flows through Nepal and India. According to locals, the attacks were committed by the giant devil catfish, and the bodies of the victims were never found. Of course, if the bodies aren't found and you don't actually find any evidence in the stomach of a giant devil catfish, you can't know for sure, but locals are convinced. The first apparent victim was a teenage boy named Dil Bahadur, who was dragged under the water in 1998 in front of his girlfriend. 3 months later, a young boy was dragged under the water in the same way in front of his father. Locals also speak of a young Nepalese man who was pulled into the river by something that he said looked like an elongated pig. That does sound like a giant devil catfish. Number 14. Pufferfish. There are at least 120 pufferfish species, and most of them are toxic to predators. We are predators, so they're toxic to us. In fact, there's enough poison in a single pufferfish to kill 30 adults, and there's no antidote, so if you're poisoned, you'll probably die within 10 to 45 minutes. After eating pufferfish poison, you'll feel tingling and numbness around your mouth. You might then experience nausea and vomiting before becoming paralyzed, losing consciousness, and dying from respiratory failure. That might make you think we leave these fish well alone and don't even attempt to eat them, but you'd be wrong. This deadly fish is a delicacy in some countries like China, Japan, and Korea, and people pay a whole lot of money to eat it. Chefs must be specially trained to serve it to avoid poisoning and killing you, and that might give you peace of mind when ordering it off the menu, but I wouldn't be so quick to order it if I were you. All it takes is for a chef to be having a bad or off day, and it's lights out. According to some sources, up to 100 people die from pufferfish poisoning each year. Number 13. Kangaroo. Kangaroo are parasitic freshwater catfish from the Amazon basin. They also go by vampire fish and toothpick fish and have a face for fish radio. They only grow up to about 7 inches long, but some can be much smaller or larger, and they have horrendous-looking fangs and an undershot jaw. But it's not their ugly looks that make most people know about this fish. It's the stories surrounding how they supposedly feast on blood and enter through the human urethra. German biologist CFP von Martius published a report in 1829 about fish being attracted to the smell of urine and penetrating the urethra of unsuspecting swimming men. The biologist said native people in the area told him men would tie ligatures around their penises to stop kangaroo from swimming up them. Other sources suggested that it was common practice to wear genital covers for this very reason. There was also an alleged case of a kangaroo being lodged in a native woman's vagina, which had to be extracted by a physician. But out of the many cases involving kangaroo swimming up people's bits, there's actually only one documented case, and people still question its authenticity. Apparently, A 23-year-old man had to undergo a 2-hour surgery to remove a kangaroo from his urethra after it jumped from the water and into his urethra while he urinated in thigh-deep water. Many medical professionals say there are a few suspicious facts about the case. Number 12. Moray eel. Moray eels are creatures of your nightmares. They are the largest eel species in the world and are known to be dangerous and aggressive. They live in warm saltwater and brackish water environments and can grow up to 15 feet long. They also have a horrendous number of sharp, backward-facing teeth. Because they face backward, one bite can literally strip the skin from your bones. That's an awful thought. And it's not even their main jaws that are the only issue. They also have hidden teeth called pharyngeal jaws that they use to pull food down into their throats. They're modern-day nightmares. Many people have learned the hard way just how painful the bite of a moray eel can be. According to studies, a 37-year-old man was attacked by a moray eel while diving on a coral reef near the Cuban island of Veradero. He was wearing a short wetsuit with his forearms and calves exposed. During the diving group briefing, he had been told about a green moray eel on the reef, and it seemed to associate divers with food. Without provocation, the eel circled the man and seized his arm tightly. He experienced significant skin loss, and even after a year of healing, he had a reduced pinch grip and reduced active range. He couldn't return to work for 9 months and still needed intensive rehabilitation after that time. Number 11. Piranha. If you've seen the 1978 film Piranha and the 3D remake in 2010, you probably already don't think so highly of piranhas. In the original film, piranhas escaped a military experiment and feasted on lake swimmers. It isn't very pleasant. From such a movie, you might be dubious about getting into water known to contain piranhas, especially since they have such sharp teeth. And sure, they could deliver a nasty bite since they have incredible jaw muscles and bite force, but they aren't the cold-blooded killers they're made out to be. According to experts, humans would only form part of a piranha's diet if they were already dead or dying. They most likely wouldn't see a perfectly healthy human swimming and launch an attack. And sure, there was evidence of piranha bites on people who had drowned in a South American river after suffering a heart attack and epilepsy, but it's believed they were already dead when the piranhas decided to come in for a feast. Although it's still horrible to think that it would take between 300 and 500 piranhas just 5 minutes to strip the flesh from a 180-pound human. Number 10. Great white shark. Over half of Americans publicly admitted they are terrified of great white sharks, and it makes sense when you see movies like Jaws. They are the largest predatory fish on the planet and are definitely at the top of the food chain. They also look as terrifying as they are. Out of all fatal unprovoked shark attacks, great white sharks are at the top of the list with 59. They also have the most non-fatal unprovoked attacks at 292. These numbers are significantly higher than the next shark on the list, the tiger shark, which has 103 non-fatal unprovoked attacks to its name and 39 fatal unprovoked attacks. They're also aggressive animals when it comes to eating. They strike from below with incredible power in an ambush attack, and their victims don't stand a chance. Interestingly, they don't attack humans in the same way, almost like they know we aren't to be eaten. They probably also know that we don't make for a great meal since we're filled with bones and have hardly any meat. So why do we get attacked then? Well, some experts think it's out of curiosity. They just want to know what we are and use their mouths to find out. The problem is, a single bite from a great white shark can cause catastrophic blood loss. Number 9. Needlefish. Needlefish are pisciferous fish from shallow marine areas or the surface area of the open sea. Some are also found in brackish and freshwater environments. These awful-looking fish have long, narrow jaws that are needle-like, hence the name, and mouths filled with sharp teeth. They can also grow up to 37.4 inches long. They aren't murderous predators that'll actively seek out people to kill, but they have killed people. They can jump out of the water at 37 miles per hour and have been known to jump onto the decks of boats by accident. Given their sharp beaks, they can deliver some pretty horrendous puncture wounds, and sometimes their beaks actually break off inside people. In 1977, a 10-year-old boy from Hawaii died while fishing at night with his father in Kauai. A 3.9-foot needlefish had jumped out of the water and pierced through his eye and brain. In 2007, a 16-year-old boy from Vietnam also died when he was stabbed in the heart near Halong Bay while diving for clams. And the deaths just keep coming. In 2013, a young Saudi man in Dammam died after being hit in the neck by a needlefish, and another woman from central Sulawesi died in 2016 after one pierced her head just above her right eye. Number 8. Electric eel. Electric eels don't look dangerous, and that's half the problem. It's easy to think they're harmless because they don't have any large teeth or dangerous spikes, but they don't need them because they have electricity. These eels from lakes and rivers in South America grow up to 7 feet long, and can deliver an incredibly powerful electric shock. It's of such a high voltage that it could easily cause respiratory failure or heart failure. A fully grown electric eel can generate 600 volts of electricity in short bursts, which comes from thousands of muscle cells that each generate a small current. With 6,000 muscle cells, they can produce quintuple the voltage of the average wall socket in the United States. Death is rare, but there have been some serious incidents. The shock might not kill you, but there have been drownings reported after people were shocked. There's also a report of a boy swimming in a river and being shocked by an electric eel so severely that he could have drowned. Thankfully, his friends rescued him from the water, but the effects of the shock lasted many hours. Number 7. Sawfish. Sawfish, which are also known as carpenter sharks, are raised with long, flattened nose extensions lined with awful-looking sharp teeth. They look like a pretty deadly saw. Many stories have been told about sawfish being highly dangerous to humans. In some stories, people were allegedly cut in half, and ships were sunk after sawfish sawed through them. Although these are definitely myths for the most part, sawfish are harmless to humans and quite docile. As in, they won't attack a human if they see one swimming around them. But that can all change when a human captures a sawfish. They start fighting for their lives, and this can involve using their saw to defend themselves. You can end up with some pretty gnarly injuries, but the likelihood of encountering one is getting slimmer and slimmer. Sawfish used to be very common, but they've recently experienced a significant decline in their populations. 5 sawfish species are considered endangered or critically endangered, in part because people hunt them for their fins to make shark fin soup. They also catch them for their teeth, saw, and for use in traditional medicine. Habitat loss is also of great concern. They are now protected in the United States, Australia, and many other countries, and you can be punished with hefty fines if you were to catch one and not throw it back. Number 6. Blue-ringed octopus. Blue-ringed octopuses are highly venomous and can be found in coral reefs and tide pools in oceans from Japan all the way to Australia. They're easy to identify by their yellowish skin and blue and black rings that can change color when they feel under threat. It will be worth paying attention to their colors because they can be incredibly dangerous to humans if they are provoked. Their venom has a potent neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin, and they have enough of it to kill 26 adult humans in mere minutes. The worst part is that you might not even know you've been bitten. The bites are so small that they're often painless, and victims don't always realize they've been bitten until paralysis and respiratory depression sets in. Unfortunately, no antivenom is available. Upon being bitten, you can experience nausea, respiratory arrest, heart failure, total paralysis, and blindness. Without treatment, death can follow in just minutes. Most people who do die from blue-ringed octopus bites suffocate due to diaphragm paralysis, and because they're paralyzed, they can't always let people around them know that they're in distress. The only way to survive is by receiving pressure on the wound followed by artificial respiration to do the job of your respiratory muscles. The best hospital treatment involves being placed on a ventilator until the body removes the toxin. If you can survive 24 hours after a blue-ringed octopus bite, you're typically going to be okay. Number 5. Barracuda. Barracuda are huge fish and opportunistic predators, weighing more than 100 pounds and measuring in at about 5 feet long. They are among the fastest predators in the ocean and can be quite aggressive hunters. It pays to stay out of their way if you happen to be swimming near them because they have large mouths and many sharp, razor-like teeth that they use to tear other fish to pieces. Some divers have reported the unnerving experience of being followed by a barracuda, its silver body glinting in the sunlight as it shadows their every move. Their sudden bursts of speed are legendary, allowing them to ambush prey in the blink of an eye. Despite their fearsome reputation, barracudas are actually quite curious and will often approach swimmers just to investigate. However, that curiosity can quickly turn dangerous if they mistake a glinting watch or camera for a struggling fish. They're also not afraid to use those same teeth to bite swimmers. Experts don't think barracudas actually attack unprovoked and even go so far as to say that they are reasonably safe to be around. In saying that, their death toll isn't zero, so keep that in mind. A death was attributed to a barracuda in 1947 and 1957, and there was also a well-documented attack on a free diver near Pompano Beach. The diver was bitten twice and received 31 stitches. In some situations, barracudas are known to attack divers and swimmers with shiny objects like knives. You might stand a better chance of not piquing their curiosity if you keep your diving tools hidden. Number 4. Blue bottle jellyfish. Blue bottle jellyfish, also known as Pacific man-o-war or Phasalia creatures, are from the Atlantic Ocean. They look harmless enough, like half-inflated bubble gum, but they're a creature you should never approach. They have tentacles that they can use to sting people when they feel threatened, and these stings can be excruciating. Some beachgoers have described the sensation as being whipped by a burning wire, and the red welts left behind can last for days. Interestingly, blue bottles are not a single animal but a colony of specialized polyps working together, which makes them even more fascinating and bizarre. Lifeguards in Australia often post warning flags when blue bottles are spotted, and locals know to shuffle their feet in the sand to avoid stepping on hidden tentacles. Even after a blue bottle has died, its tentacles can still deliver a painful sting, so it's wise to steer clear of any you see washed up. Even if you think you're pretty tough, you can be screaming in agony if one happens to sting you. The treatment options for the stings are pretty straightforward, though. You can apply topical creams and ointments and soak the sting in hot water to alleviate some of the pain. Some people just take oral pain medications until the sting site starts to heal. You might think you need to be in the ocean to be stung by a blue bottle jellyfish, but that's not the case if you live in Australia. Here, they can wash up on beaches when the winds and currents combine, turning them into landmines when you visit your local beach for a walk. Number 3. Box jellyfish. Box jellyfish don't look harmful at all. They're just blobs of jelly. And sure, most species aren't harmful, but some definitely are. They've earned a reputation as one of the deadliest sea creatures in the world due to their potent venom. In northern Australia, warning signs are posted on beaches during jellyfish season, and locals know to avoid the water when these creatures are around. Lifeguards sometimes keep bottles of vinegar on hand, as it's one of the few first aid treatments that can help neutralize the stinging cells. Some scientists have even developed special protective suits for swimmers and divers to prevent accidental contact with box jellyfish tentacles. Despite these precautions, box jellyfish are nearly invisible in the water, making them especially dangerous for unsuspecting swimmers. From a distance of up to 10 feet away, some box jellyfish species can do great harm. This is because their tentacles can be up to 10 feet long, each with up to 10,000 nematocysts or stinging cells. Once these tentacles adhere to human skin, the stinging cells harpoon into the skin at speeds of over 37 miles per hour. Humans who have been stung will almost immediately experience an allergic reaction and horrendous pain. Some people who have been stung before said it felt like having hot burning oil poured on their bodies. Due to the mental distress associated with the sting of a box jellyfish, there's a genuine risk of drowning. Box jellyfish venom contains neurotoxins that attack nerve tissue and cause tissue damage. There are also toxins that can trigger cardiac arrest. People who survive stings can develop Irukandji syndrome, which is when your body releases significant amounts of inflammation proteins and stress hormones, leading to nausea, vomiting, hypertension, anxiety, and sometimes even death. Number 2. Boxfish. Boxfish are vibrant, pretty-looking fish that spend their days happily looking for mollusks, worms, algae, and fish to eat. They look quite harmless and are slow swimmers that are easy to approach in the water, but being easy to approach doesn't mean you should approach them. Alongside having armor to protect themselves against predators, they also have a toxic chemical defense system with a toxin called ostracotoxin. If you ever see a boxfish in the wild, you might notice their boxy, almost cartoonish shape, which helps them maneuver through tight spaces in coral reefs. Some snorkelers have even described watching boxfish inflate slightly when startled, making them look even more peculiar. Despite their gentle appearance, their defense mechanism is so effective that even large predators quickly learn to avoid them. In fact, a single stressed boxfish can release enough toxin to kill all the fish in a small aquarium within minutes. Rather than stinging people, prey, and predators with this toxin, they actually secrete it from their skin when they're stressed. It comes out in a slime form and forms a cloud in the water surrounding the boxfish. These toxins have evolved over time to be harmful to gill predators like sharks, but that doesn't mean it can't affect us. People have been severely poisoned when trying to eat boxfish, and marine aquariums have experienced significant losses when boxfish decide to let out their mucus and wipe out everything around them. Number 1. Surgeonfish. Surgeonfish, also known as tang, are thin tropical marine fish with one dorsal fin and one or more sharp spines capable of producing deep cuts. Interestingly, these blade-like spines are retractable, but it's like they're carrying box cutters at all times. In total, there are about 75 different surgeonfish species, and these live in tropical and subtropical waters around the Red Sea, Atlantic, Caribbean, and the Indo-Pacific Ocean. If you ever spot a surgeonfish up close, you might notice how they flash their spines when threatened, almost like a warning sign. Some divers have described the sound of a startled surgeonfish as a quick, sharp click underwater, which only adds to their mystique. Despite their intimidating defenses, surgeonfish are actually herbivores, spending their days nibbling on algae and helping keep coral reefs healthy. Their bright colors and striking patterns make them favorites among underwater photographers, even if most know to keep a respectful distance. Fortunately, they tend to ignore divers rather than want to approach and attack, and they aren't toxic or venomous. But if you do happen to get cut by a surgeonfish, it's not much fun. The wound is typically quite deep and painful, and some people experience nausea, anxiety, and muscle aches as a result of being cut. Well, it would be quite traumatic, wouldn't it? The best way to treat surgeonfish wounds is by applying pressure to stop any bleeding, cleaning the cut with soap and water, and soaking it in hot water until the pain is relieved. Antibiotics are often prescribed due to how the cut was received, but stitches are rarely offered as they can sometimes increase the risk of infection. The next time you take a bite of a fish burger or order fried fish at your favorite restaurant, you might find yourself thinking about all the fish out there that could just as easily eat you as you eat them. Have you ever seen any of these fearsome fish in real life? Were they as intimidating as their reputation suggests? And if you're curious for more, don't forget to check out the other interesting videos appearing on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.